Adam and Steve back here with you on the Showcast on Next Level Radio, and our guest this week is a great comedian who's appeared on Comedy Central's Premium Blend along with NBC's Last Comic Standing, and was even named in Entertainment Weekly's Must List. And it's easy to see why if you watch him host Reactor every Thursday on Sci-Fi. Please welcome to the podcast, David Huntsberger. David, how's it going?
Hey fellas, it's going well. Thanks for having me.
Do you prefer Dave or David or?
I don't really care. Whichever you prefer.
Mr. Huntsberger?
Yeah, there you go. That's better. I mean, like things as formal as humanly possible.
Well, I mean, we'll start off talking Reactor because, obviously that's what you're coming on to promote. Basically, it's a perfect show to talk about on our podcast because we're a very pop culture oriented podcast, and Reactor is essentially pop culture meets science fiction, which we're also big fans of here on the podcast. And it's got kind of a live aspect to it, right? I don't know, I think it's on at 11:30. Is that part of it live, or is it recorded live earlier in the day, or how's that live aspect work?
Yeah, we actually record it on a Wednesday, and then it goes out Thursday. There are interactive polls and things like that give the show kind of like some more incentive to watch it when it's airing, so people can interact with it that way. But it's not live. Oh,
okay. For some reason I thought it was. Well, yeah, I saw the polls. I know, as we're recording this, I guess if you record on a Wednesday, you just recorded the second episode, but it hasn't aired yet. The first episode, though, I did get a chance to check out, and the poll was, who would win in a fight? I guess it was Chewbacca or some kind of weird mantis-looking thing from some guy's story.
Yeah. That guy who played the invisible pan flute saw himself a mantis man.
I remember, and I checked out the poll too because I was curious, and I don't want to give anything away, but I don't think it was even close. And I'll say I voted for the mantis creature, not because I don't like Chewbacca in Star Wars. Obviously, I'm a big Star Wars person, but mostly because I'm kind of rooting for the underdog here. I think a giant mantis has the extra reach. Chewbacca, he's tall, obviously, but I think that mantis with the extra long arms would probably do a little bit. Did you vote in the poll at all?
No, but I like your perspective on it as just a purely objective gambling person. You gotta go. You gotta be reasonable there. A lot of people chose with their hearts, but you seem like you're choosing more from a practical standpoint. I think Mantis Man was pretty thin. He was outweighed by a lot, but you're right. The reach might come into play there a little bit.
Yeah, I needed like a Tales of the Tape, maybe. Kind of break it down.
Yeah, in this corner, Mantis Man weighing 3 ounces.
Now, have you always, even before going into Reactor, have you always enjoyed the sci-fi and the pop culture, or one or the other, or both of them combined?
Not as much pop culture. I mean, just the term itself has always been sort of a put off to me or something, and yet I associate it more with like horrific pop music or like dancing competitions on TV or something like that, and that's really not fair to what is. I mean, Game of Thrones is popular culture, and I think it's fantastic. And there are a lot of things that Breaking Bad was pop culture while it was on, and I really enjoyed that. And I was one of the people that was fully into it. So I think that just if you're a citizen of Earth and you're in any way connected, you are in some way a fan of pop culture. It's just the term itself. You're like, I'm not into pop culture, I'm into subversive stuff. But yeah, everybody's into it. And then in sci-fi, for me, like the Jetsons when I was a kid, it's like when you're watching stuff, you don't even really realize it's science fiction. When you get older, they tell you like, oh, that can't exist. That's not real. That's science fiction. It's kind of a bummer. Like, oh, well, it's really neat. They're like shooting lasers and I always loved it. I've read probably a lot more science fiction than I've watched quite a bit too, but I'm not somebody that obsesses over it or gets real deep into the minutia of it. But I really like the overall concept of it. I think it's so imaginative and it's just the best.
Yeah, you mentioned Game of Thrones. You do you watch Game of Thrones regularly?
I do, yeah. I don't read the books, but I watch I'm up to speed on all the seasons.
Yeah, I don't read the books either. I mean, I started watching just this last year, and I kind of binge watched it. And after you watch the show, it's like, read the books. I kind of could do that on a condensed scale and just watch the show. But
yeah,
tell me that at some point you guys will have to mention on Reactor the fact that people will not shut up about whether or not Jon Snow is coming back.
I know. It's like over, what is it? It's somewhere in the neighborhood of 40 weeks away.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's every day.
Barely a year. Yeah, every day there's some new, and I see them, and I click on quite a few of them, even though so many of them are like, well, this is actually a reference to the book, and therefore, if you notice, his eyes are purple, which means he has Valyrian blood or whatever. And when I read those, I'm like, I guess because so many people are convinced that he's coming back to life, it's not going to be surprising. So then there's a part of me that just is like, the ballsiest thing they could do is just keep him dead at this point.
Yeah.
Because everyone is so prepared for, like, how is he going to come back to life? And not to give away spoilers there and all that stuff, which I think I may have. I don't know if I mentioned his name, but
I did,
anyway,
I think.
I mean, this is a pop culture podcast. People got to be up on that pop culture.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about it a few times.
Oh, okay.
But the most recent was, like, he was seen in Belfast, and that's where they're filming, and, like, yeah, but, I mean, they could just go there, and he could be filming his funeral scene. I mean, he could just be lying on a bed of sticks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they could do any number of things. I thought the last season overall, I was like you. I think a year or so ago is when I caught up. And then so watching this whole season unfold a week at a time, it has a way different feel. When you're binging it, it's really fun to kind of go tip to tail on episodes. And then when you have to wait, there's a lot more time to sit and think about them, or they carry more weight as they come along. Like, all right, I've waited a week. This better be real impactful. And you just watch, like, Brienne just kind of roam around, and like Tyrion is like on a boat. Like, okay, well, he did some good sailing. I guess that was a pretty good episode.
Yeah, this season was a slow burn. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty gnarly, that White Walker scene stuff. That was cool, but I don't know if that, like, it carried enough weight to make up for some of the parts just being real slow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
think they started too fast. Like, they got too far into the books too quickly, and now the show's really popular and they want to make it forever. So now they're running out of content.
Yeah, because isn't it the thing with Bran, like, all the stuff that's happened with him is, like, they're still not caught up to it at all. He's just got to kind of sit and wait for a while so they can catch up to where he's at the tree.
Yeah, he's like ahead of the books at this point.
Yeah.
I know. I think the only time, you mentioned you binge watched it too, I think the only time where I didn't, watch an episode and the next night watch another one was after the Red Wedding. I think after that I took a good week off because I just kind of was like, all right, that was intense. That was intense.
Yeah. Someone tweeted, liking Game of Thrones is like being in love with a sociopath and being upset every time they do something just completely maniacal.
That's dead
and
on.
It really is, like, you keep going back to it, like, okay, well, I killed Ned Stark, but I'm sure they're going to tone it down, and they just keep killing everyone. And it's weird that, like, the amount of, Breaking Bad to go back, because that got a lot of acclaim for how they took a character that you liked and made him someone you really despised. And it was kind of the same, that so many times they do that on, like, wow, I never thought Jaime Lannister would be a dude that I'd care about. Yeah. And now, like, he's someone that if he dies, you're going to be like, damn it! I'm killing over! So I don't know who you can really... It seems to be that some people are kind of safe, but man, it's hard to say. And I kind of like that George R.R. Martin really sticks to that. If you get picked on or you're not the coolest kid in high school, And then you're like, people shouldn't revere, the most popular, the coolest. I want to build all these worlds where I just constantly destroy them. It feels like that's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because for a while you didn't even think like King Joffrey. You thought that guy was going to live forever. And then they finally killed him. And, I mean, it's just like Walder Frey, who was, pretty much the host of the Red Wedding. He's not even in the show anymore. I guess he's fine. He's off living happy after he ruined everybody's life in season 3 or 2, whatever.
Yeah. And I guess they can just leave all those people out there on the periphery and then go revisit them when they need to, which is kind of nice. Like, oh yeah, but that's always weird when you're watching the Previously On a show like that, and they're like Previously On, and they show someone that was 4 seasons ago. And like, oh yeah, I guess these guys in this one.
Game of Thrones is the most necessary previously to watch that ever existed because of all the characters and things that happen.
Yeah.
And the guy who played Walder Frey, David Bradley, he's on, and I want to mention this because last week we had him on. He's on a show called The Strain, and your first guest on Reactor was Kevin Durand, who was on The Strain. We had him on the podcast last week. It's funny because we record, so I guess, did you record your interview with him on Wednesday too then?
Yeah, he probably went right from our taping to chat with you guys because he was there with kind of his.
Well, ours was actually, he called in on Thursday. So we actually, since yours was Thursday, we thought it was live. We thought he was going over to you after us. We're like, oh, that's kind of cool. But yeah, that nice. He's a really fun guy. I mean, you obviously got to kind of hang out with him a little bit. We only got to talk to him on the phone, but even just the half hour we had with him, he was a really cool guy.
I didn't care for him. Bit of a real jerk. Couldn't be a nicer dude. He's just like the most gregarious and outgoing. I think he's just fantastic.
Yeah, and we had talked to him about Comic-Con, and I think, did you get to go to I guess you did because you were the thing you were talking Superman versus Batman at Comic-Con was probably one of the funniest little pieces I've seen in a while. When you were asking them pretty much just random questions. It was like cat or puppy, I think it was one of them. And whoever said puppy was obviously correct because nobody likes cats.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's always puppy.
How was Comic-Con when you were out there?
It was busy. It was. I used to live in San Diego, and I always wanted to go, and I'd get turned off by the amount of people, and there weren't even that many people there. And I grew up in Reno, which is near the Black Rock Desert, where there's Burning Man. And both of those things had about the same appeal to me, which is like, wow, it's really weird. People in costumes, and it's really artsy and funky. And then I always kind of put it off. And so maybe if someday Reactor goes to Burning Man, I'll go. But they've both gotten – it's weird. What I loved about Comic-Con was how creative it is. And you associate it with – I don't like that so much of sci-fi and kind of the fantasy comic book world gets associated with sweaty loners in their basement. Really, it was like, they might be a little shy, but it was people that were so excited to see each other and celebrate each other's costumes. And the part I didn't like about it, was the comic book world used to be so subversive and kind of their own private little thing. And it's gotten so commercialized that when those people go, hey, you took Spider-Man and you changed this and that wasn't in the books, people go, shut up, nerd. You got your movie. Stop complaining. Yeah. I feel like they should be allowed to complain. It was their thing, and it kind of got swiped from them a little bit. So it was busy. I didn't get to really soak in Comic-Con as much as I would have liked just from having to run around and kind of shoot stuff for the show. But I really liked the people we talked to and just how much time and care people put into their costumes, and seeing the looks on their faces when they get to go celebrate and kind of show off, like, here's me, here's this person that I love, and I'm getting to emulate them for a day, and they take pictures with each other, and it was really cool. I really liked that a lot.
And like I said, for the bit for the show, I assume it wasn't very hard to find people dressed up as Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
You know what? Surprisingly, it was a lot of Superman T-shirts, and there were more Batgirls, really, but not a lot of dudes as Superman, and not a ton of. You probably saw in the piece, like, there weren't really a lot of people in full, like, balls to the wall Batman costumes. They were kind of like, oh, I bought this, or, I threw on a cape and a belt. There wasn't anyone where I was like, oh my God. And there may have been someone there, and we didn't shoot on Saturday. So that could, that's the bigger day, and maybe we just missed stuff. But Yeah, it took us a while to like round people up. There were periods where we were looking around like, is this possible? How is there not more Superman and Batman?
You get a lot more Avengers now because of good old Hollywood.
Yeah, the thing we saw the most was steampunk and a ton of Harley Quinns. That was the biggest, the most popular thing.
Yeah, people try and get ahead of the game with I
think so.
Oh, what the hell's it called? With the
Suicide
Squad. Thank you. Oh, my God.
Yeah, yep, yeah, and that was surprising because a lot of my comic book friends are like, Suicide Squad. They're not really that into it, and so to see. For me, I don't really read comics, and a lot of my friends do, and I pick their brains about it. I'm interested in the concepts and stuff, but to hear them talk about it, you forget that not everyone feels the way that one or two of your friends do. So when you're like, oh, no one really likes Deadpool, and you show up and everyone's dressed like Deadpool, or oh yeah, people didn't Suicide Squad, it's not, and everyone there's really into it. So it's kind of hard to get a gauge on what people are really into until you see them all dressed that way.
While you were at Comic-Con, I mean, I don't know if people were recognizing you or what show you were from, but Adam mentioned that you're an up and comer as well. And I was kind of curious because I had to do a little bit of research before the interview just to find out your background and stuff. So I was kind of interested in how the process went of you landing the gig as the host of Reactor.
Yeah, going back, no, I did not get recognized, and that was like kind of one of our running gags throughout. Was we'd be interviewing people and like, what do you think about Dave Huntsberger? And they'd be like, who? I don't. And we're trying to get some people to play into like, oh yeah, I liked his earlier stuff, or oh yeah, I liked him before it was cool, or whatever. It was like someone clearly lying, but most people were honest, or they just jokingly said like, oh, I like him. There was one girl who looked my name up on Google, and then my picture came up on her phone, and she just goes, yeah, it doesn't look familiar. But I was the only one that could see that. I should have had her like turn her camera around to the camera and be like, look at this. She doesn't recognize that person. But so that was kind of what I dealt with the whole time. There's really no one that. Most of my stuff that I've done via comedy has been via podcasts and like CDs where my picture, my face is not really associated with it. So people might know my voice a little bit. I get a lot of that at stand-up shows and stuff where people are like, whoa, I was getting a drink at the bar and I heard your voice. And I was like, I know this guy. Well, that happens from time to time. But but the show it came around through, I auditioned and did some karate moves, and people were excited about that. So they came and watched me do a set at the Improv, some of the people from Sci-Fi. And I had this animation bit that goes along with that, this thing that I was filming for a stand-up special. And so it was just kind of weird and kind of fit in their kind of odd sci-fi world, I guess. They just kind of liked that it was different. And the subject matter, I was talking a lot about things that are moderately science fiction themed, and so that kind of was the starting point, and then went from there. And again, the karate moves.
Yeah, karate, yeah. And then you actually mentioned, because I wanted to talk a little bit about the fact that you're doing an animated special as a stand-up. Obviously, that's a little bit different. I guess, is there any depth that you can go into and kind of talk to us about how you incorporate animated into your stand-up special? It's kind of interesting to me because it's different.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I just noticed that watching a lot of stand-up specials. Well, I guess that wasn't the impetus, but sometimes for me with CDs, that to me is like the purest way for stand-up. It's just you envision it, you're hearing just the words, and you kind of envision everything else. And so I wanted to, if there were a visual component, I wanted it to be more than just me kind of walking around on stage. I'm not that captivating as a performer,
right.
So that was kind of the impetus of the idea. And then I mentioned it on our podcast, hey, I have this idea. And we were doing a tarot episode, and this girl was like, your cards say that you have a project that you haven't really put a lot of, weight behind or effort into. And so I mentioned that I wanted to do this animated thing, and a bunch of animators emailed me, and we just kind of went from there. And so I would go do my set, my stand-up sets, and then I would chop it up into little, 3 or 4 minute, just each bit kind of on its own, and send that to animators. And then that slowly became like 20 animated bits. And then my girlfriend could kind of run them through like a video board, somewhere like a soundboard, so she could slow them down and speed them up and mix them in together. So it looks like one long animation, and yet it can be synced up to like how fast I'm talking or what bit I'm doing. And then, so we just filmed that basically. So you can watch it where you're just watching animation and hearing the words, or you can watch it where it kind of blends between the two, where you see me
That's cool.
telling the jokes. And yeah, it's fun to watch. I mean, I've watched it before to check like video continuity, which is like music on in the background. It's really kind of, I don't know, there's something unique about it that I like.
Yeah, for sure.
When's that coming out?
I don't know. I did a Kickstarter to fund it, and then the goal there was to do June, and it was ready in June, but then my managers wanted to wait because while that was happening, while I was working on that, then the stuff for Reactor was kind of getting going, and so they wanted to wait and see if that, would correspond with it or whatever. So I really don't know when it's going to come out or what's going on with it. So I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out for that and definitely point ourselves and listeners in that direction. You mentioned your podcast too, Professor Blastoff. Did that just end? Like you guys aren't doing that anymore?
Yeah. The last episode came out today, so we put it to rest. God rest it.
was that like a scheduling thing?
No, not really. It was, I don't know. I guess it had just run its course. I mean, there are a lot of factors involved in it. One main one, and then just some decision making beyond that. So
yeah, I've been trying to talk these guys into ending this podcast for a while, but it just keeps going.
Good luck yet.
Yeah.
Are you going to be doing any in the future?
Yeah. I'm starting a new thing eventually. I'm probably maybe like in a month or so, I'll get something up and going.
All right, call me up.
It'll be similarly themed and kind of science-based and that sort of thing.
Call me up. I'm looking for a new podcast. No, just kidding.
You're hired, kid.
And I also saw a name that I've seen a bunch over the last couple weeks and months. Tig Notaro was one of your podcast mates who is kind of hitting it big just at the same time that you are here with a Netflix documentary type special, and then she's also got an HBO special. It's just her story obviously is really motivating, and it's pretty cool to see her on the come up and bouncing back. Just a couple words, I guess, on what it's like to be working with her, and if she's been an influence for you or anything like that.
Well, I used to live with Tig. We met at Last Comic Standing, almost like 10 years ago now, and so she's been one that I've seen a pretty, decent stretch of her comedy career. So it's been, when we lived together, I'd always be like so convinced that every project she had going was going to be the thing that kind of catapulted her. And then it kept kind of falling short. So it's cool to see some of them now, and like you said, like a few of them in a row really making an impact. It's been, obviously unfortunate circumstances that kind of predicated that, but
sure.
Yeah, I mean, her life is, like she always says, is like embarrassingly happy and stuff. So it's been cool. It's been cool to see.
Did you get to appear in any of the like specials or documentaries?
I'm in the Netflix one, I think.
Okay.
There's some stuff with the podcast, so yeah, I think I'm in that.
Well, that's good. Sorry, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was actually going to go jump to a different topic.
I actually, so I'll let you jump first.
Okay. I was checking out your website as well, and I saw these next discount blockbusters, which were only a minute long, but they're entertaining in themselves. And I was wondering what I don't know if it was necessarily the motivation for it or what maybe we'll get to see next, just because it captivated me for a minute, because that's all the length that they are.
Yeah, they're short, and they were just meant to be little things. We knew the show was going to come out, and we knew we kind of had some time to get it together, but there's not a lot you can do when it's a topical show. So we just wanted, the producers, ideas like that, and just kind of the silliness and the irreverent vibe with it. When I met with them initially, to kind of go in I had, my first interaction, and then I went in. The second thing was to meet with them and kind of go over some jokes, and we hit it off pretty well and just laughed quite a bit, and it was our sense of humor synced up pretty well. So then when they told us kind of, all right, well, between now and when the show gets out, you can just kind of goof around like kids in the sandbox. So that was an idea that just was kind of, like you do when you're a kid. Kids get cameras, or they, play with little trucks and toys and try to, that was the idea behind it. It was just and I know they did, similar stuff in like Be Kind Rewind, if you've seen that. So it was, just like our take on the kind of childlike nature of remaking movies with what you have. And yeah, so there'll be more stuff like that kind of in the show, just like that kind of silly, low budget, nonsensical stuff. But yeah, I'm glad you saw them and liked them.
Yeah, and then obviously there's sand incorporated in the Mad Max and the Jurassic Park ones, so I'm sure the kids in the sandbox.
Pretty much always sand and fire. Always some sand and fire somehow.
Yeah. You gonna keep them coming? Or is that kind of just as like a preview to Reactor?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. And we're doing something for like you'll have to watch tomorrow's episode. It's kind of loosely tied to like Sharknado, so that'll come out next week. And it's in the same vein. It's a little different, but it's kind of in the same vein. So there'll be more stuff like that. I mean, we all like to do it. They're really fun, and it's silly to get paid when you're outside ramming trucks together. I mean, this is my job.
Do you have to write a lot or most or all or any of the stuff for Reactor?
I try to just be additive. I try to, the writers are really good. They're really funny, and so they kind of, if I see a clip that I think is funny or something, I send that along, and they, for the most part, like the associate producers or everybody involved, like, builds a little skeleton, and then if I see a joke that can be added or I reword it a little bit differently or something like that, I try to just be helpful, but it's not like I just sit down and write out the whole show or anything like that.
Yeah, that would take some time.
Producers, yeah, they build it, and I try to just be additive when I can and help punch it up and this sort of thing.
I think the cool part about the show, and we'll try and wrap up because I know we're just about at our time with you, but the cool part about it is, it's kind of like a talk soup-ish type of thing for sci-fi, but the cool thing with the sci-fi additive is, it's all shows that a lot of us watch, and, I know the first episode had a scene from The Strain that when I watched it, I was like, okay, that was a little odd, but I'll overlook it because I like the show. But when you see it out of context on a show like Reactor, it really makes you go, oh, Jesus, that was really...
And I don't watch The Strain, and that was the weirdest thing I saw last week.
Yeah, my aunt had a hard time with that, too. She was just like, whoa, I was not expecting that. And so, yeah, I mean, there's so many odd visuals a show like that can contain, and there are a lot of pockets and areas for it to be funny. The clips on their own are just sometimes so bananas that when you watch them, like the studio audience laughs afterwards. It's like, what did we just see? What was that? Or they're just ridiculous in nature. And so adding jokes on top of that. And yeah, it's in the vein of like a lot of those shows, with the kind of, it's somewhat green screen, but we have like, the physical screen as well. And being able to sit down with some of these people and chat with them a little bit is pretty fun. And I think it's like you guys were saying, where it's a show where people can come together once a week and kind of know that there's a central place to watch all those kind of shows. Like if something crazy happens on The Strain, there's, you might look for it online the next day or forums and things like that, but it's nice to have a show or something where you can be like, I know they're going to talk about it, and so maybe I can tweet with people or chat about it on a comment thread, or, I like that element that the show brings people kind of, oh, they're going to talk about the shows that I like here.
Yeah. It kind of like consolidates everything into one half-hour type of thing.
Yeah, that's the idea. So hopefully we're still new at it, so we're ironing things out and tweaking stuff here and there and whatnot. But overall, the theme is, to do that.
And I mean, bringing that sci-fi aspect into it, I mean, almost every sci-fi show or movie is going to have a couple moments that if you just take a clip or something from it, it's going to make you laugh. What was that?
Yeah, or blow your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So many different ways.
Getting back to Mantis Man real quick before we let you go. What was that from? I don't even remember.
Monsters and Mysteries, I believe.
Is that a sci-fi show?
No.
Okay.
I think it's like on, I wouldn't even want to guess the network. I don't know. I mean, there are so many fringe shows.
BBC, maybe?
Out there. Yeah, it could be. I mean, there's so many shows where it's baffling to find like how much of that stuff exists.
Oh my God, yeah. And I'm sure online videos and stuff. Do you guys tap into online videos at all?
A little bit. I mean, so they're kind of different. You probably saw, different portions of the show. So some of it is more like the main shows, the bigger kind of bigger budget shows, the more prevalent. And then toward the end, we'll trickle down into like, oh, here's a weird thing that was making around on the web this week, or So there's like a slot for everything essentially. All content at some point could be kind of put into one of those areas.
Okay, I got you. Well, we'll let you get going. We don't want to hold you up any longer, but we appreciate you joining us and want to make sure our listeners watch Reactor every Thursday at 11:30 p.m. on Sci-Fi. Follow you, David or Dave or Mr. Huntsberger, however you guys want to call him, at Huntsberger Junk on Twitter. Thanks again for spending time with us. Anytime you want to come back on, just let us know. You're more than welcome.
Oh, thanks. I'd love to. Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. And thanks for supporting the show. And good luck with your podcast. And good luck ending it. I hope you finally get your way there.
Yeah, it'll be a smooth transition. We are going to take a quick break. Stay tuned for more Showcast here on Next Level Radio.